trying to be funny.
I thought it was funny,
I'm
too.
not doing a very good job. This is gonna be a tough room to work. So, how is everybody?
Good.
Eh, been better? So, namaste to everyone. Yeah, I was spending a lot of time in, this time only West Bengal. I didn't go up to North India this trip. I'm going to start stopping in Mumbai again on my way. Go to the hospital to get a checkup. You know, as your, it's like your car. When it gets a little older, you check it up more often. So this body's getting a little older, so I need to check it up. Mayapur's very wonderful at many things, but as far as hospitals go, it's so-so. So, yeah, I was just in West Bengal, and nothing wrong with that. That's a good place to stay, to spend the winter, and so much opportunity to speak in West Bengal. And you say I'm going to be here a month? Where are you sending me?
Are you going to Russia?
Oh, that's right, going to Russia, but that's in June. So, yeah, that's going to be exciting. I've never been to Russia. Has anybody here ever been to Russia? No? So, would you like to go in my place? I don't know if yeah, so, huh?
I thought you were going to ask if we could go with you.
Well, you can. Yeah, somehow or other, in Mayapur, our temple, our community in West Bengal, there are, I don't know, how many Russians are there? Kirtanesh? Yeah, like 5,000, there's a lot. And so, somehow or other I got to know the Russians. I have some Russian disciples, but then I got to know the community, and then I got to know some of the leadership in Russia that was there this time, and the next thing I know, they're wanting me to come. There's like 7 or 8 temples that have gone together and sponsored the trip. So they're not really asking me if I'd like to go. You come to Russia, da? Da, So I didn't know that da meant yes when I said oh, da. So, so it looks like I've been drafted to go to Russia. I'm looking forward to it. I'm actually going to Moscow and then take a 6-hour flight after almost a week in Moscow to Siberia, which is way on the east side of Russia. And so there's several temples there that are sponsoring my visit. So I think this is what Prabhupada wants me to do. I'm old and tired, and I don't want to do much of anything anymore, but yet Krishna has different ideas. So we're going to talk about something like that, that contains that. We're going to talk about the bhakti principle. So who here has heard of that word, bhakti? Yeah. So many people in modern age have heard that word. It becomes, like many words, one of those things that becomes popular. It has meaning. If you say bhakti, that means that you're spiritually in tune. We understand what it means. But like so many Sanskrit words, we don't know what they mean. We just say them. And we have some idea. But we're going to talk tonight about what bhakti actually means. What is the principle of bhakti? And some of you may say, yeah, I already knew that. And some of you are going to say, wow, I didn't know that. So stop me at any time with questions or comments. Please stay on the subject, if you will. Try, CC. Yeah, I would like for this to be more of a discussion rather than a lecture. Don't you hate that word, lecture? I mean, it even leaves a sour taste in your mouth when you say lecture. I'm going to it. You know, so I try not to lecture. I just speak and exchange. So, what is a principal? And I'm not talking about the guy who runs the school. I need one of those laugh machines. I mean, you know, you might as well not wait. If you're waiting for the real funny stuff, you're going to be here all night. You might as well laugh at the low class stuff. So, a principle is an accepted or professed rule of action or conduct, a person of good moral principles. So a principle is an accepted rule. It's something that, and rules should not be broken. Well, some people say, well, but rules are there to be broken. So, you know, in America, we kind of think like that. For the first time ever, I had everything go wrong on my trip back that has not gone wrong since I started going to India in 1976. I mean, it was just a crazy trip. So, first of all, we got out of Kolkata late, got into Doha late. Doha's in the country of Qatar. Does everybody know the Middle East? You know?
I know that country, I was just saying.
Were you?
Yeah.
Interesting. I mean, the most interesting place I've ever, well, let's just say it's extremely interesting. And, you know, we in America, we say, you know, rules are there to be broken. Well, in a country like Qatar, rules are there to be followed. And anyway, I got in there late and couldn't catch my connecting flight to Los Angeles, so Qatar Airways, what a class act, you know. They put me up in a hotel, I mean, a really swanky hotel, kind of hotel I would never buy. I mean, it was like something out of a movie, you know. And so I got to talk with a few people there. They bought me dinner, no expense to me. Instead of taking a bus, you know how you usually, if you're going to go to a hotel from the airport, you take a bus. No, they sent me first class taxi, you know, to this hotel. So anyway, I got to know some people, and there's practically no crime in Doha. Nobody steals. I mean, some people steal, but they'll only steal once. Stores are never stolen from, hardly ever. People obey the rules. And when I was hearing this, I thought, well, whoa, wait a minute. I'm an American. You know, we're free. We break rules if we want to, you know. And it sounded kind of creepy when I was hearing about this place. Whether you're a citizen or if you're an immigrant, they give you a SIM card. You can have any kind of phone you want, but they give you a SIM card, and you must have an ID at all times. You must have your phone with you at all times, and the SIM card must match your ID at all times, or you're in severe trouble. So that means the government knows where you are if they want to know where you are. Cameras are everywhere. So this just sounded kind of creepy, right? But then the next day when I went to the airport, this was in my subconscious, and I started to realize I don't have to watch my bags like I do anywhere else, you know, in America. I mean, nobody's going to be stupid enough to steal. From what I've heard, you'd have to be an idiot to steal something. So you're kind of laid back, and you're not worried about some con thing happening, or so people there follow the rules. And I thought, well, that's interesting. There's certainly benefit in having the right to break the rules if you want to, but there's consequences. That kind of sounds like, what's that word? Karma. You have free will. You can do anything you want or not, but you have to pay the consequences. Every action has reactions attached. We can't escape that, even if we're Americans. You can't show the law of karma, your American passport, and demand any rights. No, you've got to follow the law of karma. You can do anything you want, but there will be a return, good or bad reaction. So this principle of bhakti, if you are sincere and serious about it, cannot be broken. Now, it could be, but if you're truly involved in the nature of bhakti, well, there's no possible way that you could break that rule. So what is bhakti? So let me get into that. You can see that I'm not that prepared. I haven't slept much in the last few days, so please pardon me. I have to remember where I put it. Here it is. This is, could I get some water? This is something by Srila Bhaktivinoda Thakur. Many of you may not have heard of Bhaktivinoda Thakur, but you should hear of him. He just continually blows our mind, doesn't he? I mean, the deepest spiritual concepts, just amazing. And I don't mean popular spiritual quasi. I'm talking about the real deal of spiritualism. So, Srila Bhaktivinoda Thakur says, bhakti is a principle which comes from soul to soul. And like electricity or magnetism in gross matter, it conducts itself from one congenial soul to another. So what are we talking about here? Like magnetism. A piece of a magnet is automatically attracted to a piece of metal. It's automatic. Like the magnet doesn't have any choice. It's not like, well, do I like that metal or not? It's just immediately. So bhakti means love that is so deep that you have no choice. You have no choice. You fall in love, and you fall in love so deeply that you forget all of your desires. Now, typically, in our material world, if I do something for you, I expect something at least equal in return. You know, I do for you, I scratch your back, you scratch mine, that kind of thing. So if I love you, you better hope you're loving me back, or this may not work out. So bhakti transcends this concept of I do and you return. Bhakti is like the magnet. When you see the object of your love, you're so much in love that the concept of your object of love repaying you doesn't even exist. All you know is that you were in love completely. There's no choice. So that's the principle of bhakti, and because the love is so deep, there is no possibility of you breaking that principle, because you're that deep in love with the object of your love. So, some of you may be thinking, gee whiz, this sounds good, but where are you going to find such a person? Where are you going to find such a person that you look at and you just go, oh, I'm totally in love with you? Now, this may have happened to us when we were in grade school. You know, we fell in love with somebody and we thought, oh, I can't live without this person in my life or whatever. And it might have happened from time to time, but in the material world, in the concept of love, just doesn't get this deep, you see. Now, some people like to argue that, but if you look, Hare Krishna, this is my ride from the airport, to and from the airport, Kishori. She's worn out. How many cars now taking me back and forth to the airport? So, yeah, this concept of true love, Hare Krishna, this deep, we haven't experienced in the material world. We might have thought we did, but when you actually taste true bhakti, you'll realize that this blows your mind. You become a captive of that person that you fall in love with. So who is worthy of such love? Huh? Only the source of love. The very source of love itself. Krishna. Source of beauty. The source of love. Some people say God is love. But, yes, he is love, but he's the source of love. Love comes from him. He's like the owner of love. He's the emperor of love. You see? It's not a cheap thing. It's not even an expensive thing. It's just the real thing. It's love that captivates you. It's like I heard a tape not too long ago of my spiritual master. He was talking about a story of Narada Muni. Narada Muni is a great saint. And Narada Muni is such a great saint that he can go see Krishna whenever he wants to. You know, can you imagine? You don't even have to have an appointment if you're Narada Muni. You just kind of, hey Krishna, it's me. Yeah, you got a minute? You know, Krishna's like, hey, for you, yeah. So Narada Muni is talking to Krishna. He said, I just can't understand you. Why, the Pandavas, they've lost their kingdom. They've lost everything. Their wife has been insulted. And I see that through all of this, their love for you is simply increased. So Prabhupada started to giggle. This is the principle of bhakti. They're so in love with Krishna that they never think, Krishna, why are you treating me this way? Why don't you protect me? God is supposed to be your protector, you see. So, Prabhupada was laughing. Yes, so many things happened, but their love for Krishna had increased. So Narada Muni said to Krishna, it's as if you have hypnotized them. They're hypnotized by your love. So that doesn't mean they suffered for a long time. This suffering from the devotee who's devoted to Krishna, when they get some suffering, it just causes their love to get even more intense. They love Krishna even more. I don't need the good life. I'm not looking for any return. I love you, Krishna. And because I'm having to struggle to love you, that makes me love you even more. So then Krishna always reciprocates. And whenever there's some struggle caused by Krishna towards the devotee, it's just an opportunity for you to love him even more and more deeply, you see. The devotee recognizes that. Oh, my dear Lord Krishna, you're giving me this suffering, and I'm so thankful because now I'm thinking of you. I can't think of anything else. Ultimately, the beloved, the lover says to the beloved, I have nothing else but you. There simply isn't anything else in this world. I just only have you. And I have no desire for anything else. So, however it may be really sweet good times, or it may be suffering. You're my beloved, and nothing can change that. Lord Chaitanya said, Krishna, I know no one but Krishna is my Lord, even if he handles me roughly in his embrace. So, now that doesn't mean that it's always a hard road, because most of the time, am I right? Most of the time it's just a sweet, what do they call it, a bed of roses? A bed of lotus flowers. Everything around you, in the life of, when you're living a life centered around the principle of bhakti, is beautiful. Everything is beautiful. Every minute's exciting. Well, you never know what wonderful thing Krishna will send your way next. But then suddenly, you find yourself in a situation where you have to struggle. So now I actually have to think of Krishna. I actually have to think, my Lord, I'm simply remembering you. That's all. I'm not thinking about this struggle that I'm up against right now. I'm simply thinking of you. Do with me as you will. You're still my Lord. So Krishna, believe me, Krishna reciprocates. He has the right, if you love him, to taste your love, doesn't he? The taste of love. I could protect you from all struggle, but then you wouldn't have the chance to turn to me. So I want to taste your love. I want to give you some struggle, and then you turn to me, Krishna, I love you even more. That tastes so good to the object of love, Krishna. So then Krishna rewards. Not that we want it. We're not even counting on some reward. We can go on suffering eternally. Doesn't matter. We have him. But then there's some gift that Krishna wants to give us when there is some apparent suffering. You ever notice that? It's always like that when there is some challenge. It's because Krishna has a valuable gift. He's hiding behind his back. And he gives you this challenge. And then when you pass the test, he's like, oh, that's so sweet. Here, I have this for you. And then your life just improves. Everything gets so much nicer. And again, it's not like you're expecting it or demanding it. It's always a surprise. It shouldn't be. After all these years, after 51 years, I should be used to it. But it's always a surprise when all of a sudden everything gets much better than it ever was before. So we learn not to expect or demand it. Srila Bhaktivinoda goes on. When a person comes in contact with a Vaishnava whose heart has been melted by Hari Bhakta Ras. Hari is the name of Krishna. Bhakta is someone who is performing bhakti. And Ras means a relationship. It's a relationship of sweetness, of sweet love. Now this thing keeps going. It is then that he or she may desire to imbibe the sweet principle of bhakti and follow in the holy footsteps of the devotee by constantly practicing Krishna bhakti. So this is a continuation of his statement in that first paragraph, that this bhakti or love is passed from one living entity to another. You see, some people feel that I can practice some sort of yoga or some spiritual practice and I can feel love. Have you heard that? We've heard that, haven't we? So I always ask people, oh, that's wonderful. You'll feel love. So apply logic. For love to exist, doesn't there have to be an object of your love? Some people will try to argue that. Can you just sit in love? Outer space? You can say, well, I feel love all through my body. Well, is it love that you're feeling? You may say that, but you haven't perhaps tasted the real thing. You've never been in the bhakti principle, you see. You haven't tasted it all the way. So, for love to exist, you need two souls. It's passed soul to soul. Now we can love the desert. We can love the forest. We can love the ocean. But I don't think that you want to be loved by that level. The same way you love the ocean, do you want to be loved by someone and that's it? How can you love the ocean? There's no reciprocation whatsoever. Or the mountains. What is the reciprocation? Even if you're not looking for reciprocation, when you achieve the principle of bhakti, at least in the early stages of love, you're needing reciprocation. You see? Unless you come across an entity like Krishna who just steals your heart, you see, and you never expect any reciprocation. But short of Krishna, you expect, and you need some reciprocation for this love affair to grow. So therefore, Bhaktivinoda Thakur points out that this is done soul to soul. They slowly wash off the Mayic condition. and in the end, after obtaining their true nature, enjoy the sweetest unalloyed rasa, sweet relationship, which is the ultimate attainment of the soul. So, what is the ultimate attainment of the soul? It's clearly said here, it's the principle of bhakti. To be so much in love that you're actually in that world of bhakti. That's the ultimate attainment. Anything else that you strive to do is just an attempt to get to that level. Getting a good training, a good job. If you get some degree, fame, if you get all kinds of fame, what about wealth? Unlimited wealth. So if I get fame and wealth, won't that be satisfying? No, I want all that, so ultimately I can have this love that I'm talking about. Although just to have plenty of money doesn't guarantee that you and your spousal unit will share in bhakti, now does it? Who was it that, who's the guy that owns Amazon? What's his name?
Bezos, Jeff Bezos.
Yeah, didn't he just have the most expensive divorce in the history of the planet? You know, it cost him like $85 billion. Boy, that's a lot of bhakti, isn't it? It's a lot of something, I'll tell you that. Wow. So, the richest guy he was at the time, now he and Elon Musk are going back and forth. Depends on whose stock is going up and who's going down. They're, one is the third richest, and the next day the other one's the third richest. The richest people right now live in India. India is just a boom. It's the biggest boom I've ever witnessed in my lifetime. It's just incredible what's happening there. They're going to blow past our economy in about 10 years. I mean, it's just, that's another subject. But incredible wealth, fame, adoration. Like, so many people adore these rich men because they get rich off of them. And distinction. Why, you're the guy who established Amazon. You changed the world, the way the world shops. Well, that's distinguished. And still, it's not a happy guy that has the most expensive divorce ever in the history of the planet, now is it? So we never achieved. Yet these achievements cannot possibly be the ultimate attainment of the soul. Now, can they? Can't be. We only want these achievements, fame, profit, adoration, and distinction, so that we can get into this love. We want somebody to be attracted to us for some reason or another, whether it be wealth or whatever. So, Bhaktivinoda points this out, the sweetest unalloyed rasa, the sweetest unalloyed mellow relationship is the ultimate attainment of the soul. Isn't it? Anything else is just trying to get you there. It's trying to help you towards this ultimate end. The sooner we learn this principle in life, in this human life, the happier the rest of our life will be and more productive. We'll understand, why am I doing this? Why do I get up and go to work? Why do I do what it is that I do? I have an actual reason for living. I actually have a mission. My mission is to taste the sweet, mellow relationship of bhakti. Once you taste this bhakti, once you focus on the most lovable object, now you become what some people refer to as a major league lover. You've learned how to love. Not just love, but you've learned how to love all the way. Fully sold out. It takes Krishna to steal your heart to that level. But once you get a taste of love of Krishna, then You become able to love all living entities. Not just human beings, all living entities. That includes plants. Why, they're living entities just like you. They're just caught in another body. So you have respect for every living entity. It changes the way you see this world. If you can get even a few drops, just a taste of this bhakti in your life. So this is the ultimate reason that the soul, us, the reason why we exist. This is our primary function as living entities. In the liberated stage, when we're in the spiritual world, what do you think we're going to do? What's life going to be like? Are you going to practice some hobby every day? You know, perhaps in the spiritual world they have a cable. Do people still have cable? I mean, maybe something has replaced cable, I don't know. But cable is still the thing. If you need to be entertained, you go to the cable, right? Or is there something new?
Like streaming platforms, Netflix and stuff like that.
Oh, okay.
Amazon.
So you go to that. And so when you get to the spiritual world, when you're liberated and you get into that heaven that people talk about, so then you're going to have increased streamability, right? Or you're going to have like unlimited Netflix. Unlimited ways to waste your time trying to feel some gratification or something. Is that it? Or is love waiting for you when you achieve liberation? If love isn't there, then why would you want to go? What do we expect? Some people think that, well, I can just achieve some partial liberation. Liberation without this love affair. Liberation, I can just go merge into the light. You know? Well, you can do that. That's real. We're not going to tell you you can't do that. If you want to, there's actually a name for that light that people talk about. It's called the Brahmjyoti. It's real. You can go there. You can merge. You got to work real hard to do it, though. You can't just take yoga 2 or 3 times a week and end up merged into the Brahmjyoti. It doesn't work that way. You have to actually develop some mystic powers, yogic mystic powers. We have a yoga teacher here. She could teach you mystic powers. She could go into the Brahmjyoti, but I don't think she wants to. You see, if you go into that this state of merging into the Brahmjyoti, well, you get benefit. You don't have a body that's going to die anymore. So that's good, isn't it? Isn't that worth working hard for? You don't have to worry about dying anymore. So, well, what are you going to do for love? Loving takes a who. It takes some other, unless Bhaktivinoda's getting us here, it's passed soul to soul, heart to heart. If you're part of the light, what's going to inspire you to love? Who is going to inspire you to love? What is it, do they have that could possibly inspire you to give them your heart? You don't have a body. All the living entities there don't have a body. You're part of the light. Where's the love? Unless there's something about love that Krishna hasn't told us. Follow the logic. This is just logic. So many billions and trillions of living entities have gone into the Brahmjyoti. But it's not a permanent liberation, because you can get there and you achieve one major thing that all living entities are seeking. Anybody know what that is? What does merging into the light give you? Shanti. Gives you peace. You feel peace. I've escaped birth, death, disease, and old age. I'm liberated into the light. I have Shanti. I have peace. So, but what about my bliss? I'm entitled to feel blissful. Bliss comes from love. Doesn't come from tasting something that tastes real good or smells real good. Bliss is generated from being deeply in love. So the living entity, after spending some time in the Brahmjyoti, will turn around and come back. So I often wonder when I'm talking to a room of spiritually inclined people like all of you are, how many of you have been there? How many of us have been there into the light? I mean, of all the, what is there, 8 billion people now on planet Earth? Of the 8 billion people, how many? What is the percentage of people who are looking for something higher in spiritual life? You see, when you're a spiritual novice, you can take just about anything from, and you'll say, oh, this is blissful, or this is the ultimate target. But I would say that many of the people in this room have been to the Brahmjyoti. You've been liberated. And yet here you are. You're looking. Where's my love? Where's my bliss? Where is my eternal Ananda? So that's why we're all together. So that's our purpose. That's the purpose of this wonderful ISKCON that Srila Prabhupada has founded, so that we can spread this Krishna consciousness. So let me read this last paragraph, and then we'll discuss a little bit. You guys have been awfully quiet. It's probably boring when they don't ask questions. They're like... Srila Bhaktivinoda says, Satsanga, or the company of spiritual people, is the only means to obtain the ultimate object of life. This is Srila Bhaktivinoda Thakur's writing, Sri Chaitanya, his life and precepts. So, this satsanga, associating with spiritual people, not spiritual wannabes. You're going to be able to get the energy that the spiritual person that you encounter has. So if it's someone who says, well, how many times have we met with folks, and they're sincere seekers, but they tell me, and they tell us, well, I do my own thing. So I'm thinking, oh, you have invented a thing. So this is kind of like a child that's playing some game, A child puts on a cowboy hat and wears the cowboy guns, and they say, I'm a cowboy, Or they put on a little toy policeman's hat, a badge, and they have a gun, and I'm a policeman. So this is novice. What's that other word Prabhupada uses a lot? Neophyte. Spiritual wannabe. I wanna be. Well, what do you want to be? What did you invent? You do your own thing. Where did you get the concept of what even is the thing that you're doing? Did you made that up? Wow. And sometimes they tell it to us like they want us to be impressed. And maybe 50 years ago I would have said, oh, wow, like, dude, you are so spiritual. Those were bygone days. So, no, can your own thing take you to this ultimate love? You can't have this ultimate love without an ultimate object of this ultimate love. And that's what you need. You need to find that ultimate object. Your own thing isn't going to take you to the Supreme Godhead. He's not so cheap. He's there ready for you to embrace you and give you this love, this bhakti. His return of love is even more immense than we could possibly love him. He's the source of love. And he's ready to get our relationship back of loving one another. He's, as they say, cocked and locked. He's ready to go. When it comes to love, Krishna's ready to throw down any minute. Let's be in love again. We always were in love. But you left to go to the material world to look for something better than me. And so now here you're coming back. So, and along the way, on our attempt to get back to our original position, we may come up with our own thing from time to time. And we'll adapt so many different things. But until we actually get real serious about learning how to love the supreme source of love, we're just going to be held captive by our imagination and our own things. So, are there any questions or comments? Criticisms? I got thick skin, you can criticize me. But I mean, be gentle. Nothing? Ah, there you go.
Can your like day-to-day work count as bhakti?
Huh?
Your day-to-day work, what we do on a daily basis?
When you're that far in love, then everything you do is an offering of love to your beloved. Going to work, brushing your teeth. My dear Lord Krishna, you've given me this human body. And when I was in the body of a dog, I couldn't understand anything about God. I didn't even care. I was just busy eating, sleeping, mating, and defending. So, but now you've given me this wonderful human form of life. You've given me this human body. And so I have to take care of it as an offering of thanks. So I'll brush my teeth, I'll bathe nicely. You see, we're concerned about our appearance, not because we want to attract anyone, but because it's an offering of love to our beloved. You see, if I'm going to be a doctor, I'm going to be the best doctor I possibly can because I'm doing this for Krishna. Or if I'm a salesman or a husband or a wife, whatever it is that you're doing, that is an offering of love if you're caught in the bhakti principle. Because ultimately, the underlying thought between all of your thoughts and actions is love of your beloved Krishna. Does that answer your question? Yes?
So if you don't love Krishna that much, like, how do you love him more?
Oh, it can't be stopped. Now, you can say I don't love him that much, but that's this particular moment. It starts out when we actually are not in the bhakti principle, we're caught in the material principle. We follow the principles of material life, which means I need to do something for gratification. You know, I need cable or streaming, or I have 5 ways that I can perceive gratification because I'm caught in this human body. What are those 5 portals to enjoyment? Taste, sight, smell, hearing, and touch. How else? That's how you perceive the world around you. You see? So, if it's got to taste good, smell good, look good, like that, feel good, and then we have the sense objects. If I want my sense of touch to be gratified, then there are certain things that I have to approach. You see, sex life is involved because it's only there to satisfy my sense of touch, and then my false ego. You see, that goes with that. So, but once we're attracted, away from the material consciousness, away from the material principle, if we just get a couple of drops of reality, then all of that starts to fade. And our faith in the material energy starts to decrease. Because after all, we've been trying to enjoy in this material world for billions of lifetimes, trillions of lifetimes. And yet, here we are, you see, still waiting for Netflix to come up with some more gratification for us, you see. We're always looking. You can see how people they're enthralled with their phones, you know. The days of just sitting down without a phone and without any gratification whatsoever seem pretty scarce. So some people say, what happens when you're flying and you have some big layover or something like that? And I always say the same thing. Gives me a chance to be alone with Krishna. You know, I don't need my phone. I can chant. I can hear his names. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Rama, Rama, Hare Hare. I can read about his pastimes, his glories. If you're in love with somebody and you read about them, that just makes your love grow, you see. So it may take some while because we're still somewhat attached to the material energy. We're not fully convinced, you see. We have faith in Krishna, but we still have faith in the material energy as well. We're in the stage called mixed faith. Have faith in this one, have faith in that one. It's like going from one lover to another. I still love her, but I'm loving her even more, like that, you know. So I love the material energy, but that's starting to fade because I'm starting to fall in love with the spiritual energy over here, this Krishna. So Krishna will automatically, he's so dynamic, he will attract you. You just have to stay the course. And all of a sudden, one day, you've gone you've gone full head over, what does he say? Head over heels in love with Krishna. But you're never going to feel that I love you as much as I can. That's not possible. Krishna is so attractive and so wonderful that his attractiveness is always increasing. Go ahead and eat. Everyone should go ahead and please take. You see, he's always increasing his attraction, so our love for him is always growing. The problem that we have with material love is that it kind of gets up to it plateaus, you know, and then it starts to decline. So with spiritual love, it's just always on the increase. Early on in our spiritual lives, it may seem like it's increasing very slowly, you know, but at some point it'll seem like, you know, when the airplane takes off, he's going up like this. And then you'll get to the point your trajectory will be like the rocket. It'll be straight up, escaping the force of the gravity of the material energy that's holding you back. But you'll never feel like, oh, I'm loving as much as I possibly can, because you cannot reach saturation when it comes to love. It's not possible. It'll always be something you're gaining. So it's good for you to think. If we're serious with ourselves, we're always going to think. The true bhakti yogi is always thinking, I can do better. I can do better. I know I can. And others may look at you and say, well, you're so advanced. No, I'm not there. I barely started. My guru Srila Prabhupada used to say from time to time, I am so fallen. And you think, what could possibly be fallen about you? But my love isn't perfect. My love of God is not perfect, and it never will be. Because if you get to the level that he is right now, loving him according to how you can love him, by the time you get there, He's growing. So therefore, it never gets old. You know? It never gets stagnant. It's always fresh. The taste is always increasing. Does that answer your question? Excellent question. You always have the nicest questions. Yes, Bahu.
Does everybody eventually get back to Godhead, or is there a way to get like just stuck eternally in mind?
It depends on which way you're looking. It's like down here, looking up looks different than being up there looking down. Does that make any sense? It's like when you're on the beach looking up, and then when you're flying over the beach in a plane, it looks different. So from our perspective, because these material bodies, this material world is governed by the principle of time, we can stay here so many trillions of lifetimes that it can seem like an eternity, like we're stuck. And yet, you are an eternal living entity. Time doesn't affect you. You cannot age. When you're liberated looking down, billions, trillions of years isn't even a nanosecond. It's almost like it didn't even happen. It's so quick. But from our perspective, it's forever. You see? So it can be said you're eternally stuck in this material world. Except you can leave anytime you want to. You're in a prison, but there are no walls, no guards. There's nothing keeping you here. Krishna is so expert. He's designed this prison that you keep yourself in through your desires. Whenever we're desiring something other than Krishna, then this is our home. We have to be here if we want something other than Krishna. Because when we go back home to our original home, that's all there is Krishna. That's all there is in this material world. Like, this is Krishna. Everything emanates from God. But through this Mayic situation, as Bhaktivinoda Thakur says, in other words, when we're caught under the spell of Maya or illusion, I can actually think that this is some material element. I've come to this material world and I'm away from God. I'm away from Krishna. Why, heck, I can do my own thing. I can break any rule. I can make rules. I'm free. I'm not under God's thumb anymore. See? Because I'm in illusion. And I can do what I want. Yes, all of that is true. You can do whatever you want. You can stay here. You could stay here for an eternity if you wanted to. We're not going to want to. We're going to want to go back to our original home, our original relationship with the Supreme. You see? So, no, we're not caught. It's when you analyze through true spiritual logic, what's going on, you think, well, this place billions of lifetimes ago, there's nothing keeping me here. When you get to that position of realizing that, that's called liberation. You don't have to die to achieve liberation. You don't have to die. You don't have to leave this body to achieve your original position. You can be liberated. And once you achieve this liberation, whether you're here or in the spiritual world or wherever, you're with Krishna. It doesn't matter where you are. What if Krishna wants you to stay here and help him? Would you do that? Yeah. Krishna says, oh, my dear beloved, you've come home to me. This is so wonderful. Would you go back and get some other people now? For me, please, oh, please, oh, please. Yes. Yes, Krishna. Can I take a bath and get something to eat first? Doesn't matter where you are when your consciousness is liberated. Doesn't matter. Nothing. All that matters is now I have my original consciousness back, and I have the object of my original love back. And I can taste that wherever I am. Excellent question. Really good questions. I thought this was going to be a dull crowd, but I was wrong, wasn't I? Yes, Atul Govinda.
Thank you. Beautiful class. You mentioned Krishna being the person who's the protector. How can we see? How can we, the devotees, see the vision of seeing like Prahlad Maharaj protected by Nrsimhadev, but then like the children of Devaki the children of Devaki were killed right when they came out of the womb. Some of them. Sometimes you see like Bhishma Dev he's a great devotee, but he wasn't. In our eyes, from our vision, it seemed like he wasn't protected. So how do we see this kind of dichotomy? Like sometimes Krishna will protect Prahlad, but then seemingly other devotees, he lets something happen to him.
Excellent question. What was protecting Prahlad? And what was being protected? So Prahlad's father was trying to kill him in many different ways because Prahlad's father is a demon, and he finds out that his son is a great devotee. Well, that's a real clash. So the great demon Hiranyakashipu decided he's got to die. So he tried to kill him in so many different ways, but he couldn't. So why is that? Because Prahlad was so caught up in the thoughts of his beloved Krishna that he didn't even notice. He put him, so many things were tried to harm him. But he was so preoccupied with his love, he wasn't aware. I mean, I know that my father's trying to kill me, but that's all right. Whatever Krishna wants, that's the way it will be. I'm just surrendered, I'm a servant to Krishna. So Krishna was allowing him to be in some apparent difficulty, but he was tasting Prahlad's confidence in him, his love, and that, no, Krishna will always take care of me. No matter what happens, that's Krishna's desire, and I want Krishna's desire to manifest. So what's being protected? This love of Godhead is being protected. When we ask Lord Nrsimhadev to protect us, it's our sprout of bhakti, our bhakti lata bij, the sprout of bhakti in our heart. As far as the body, we don't care. You can, whatever happens with this body, or anything to do with the body, that can be or not be. But my dear Lord, please protect my devotion. So sometimes the Lord will allow the devotee to get into apparent struggle, apparent suffering. But how much suffering was going on with Prahlad Maharaj? He was trying to be killed by the expert killer at that time, Hiranyakashipu. Even the demigods were afraid of him. They didn't want to be killed by him. He was the killer of killers. And he wants to kill his son. But he failed because of Prahlad's bhakti. And when Krishna killed the demon father, he wanted to reward Prahlad Maharaj for being such a devout devotee, steadfast lover of God. He wants to give him anything he wants. And Prahlad Maharaj wanted everyone to be saved. He wanted nothing for himself. He just wanted to see everyone saved. He wanted everyone. Let all the envious people be pacified. Let everyone feel satisfied. So why would was this artificial? That he's standing there and the Supreme Personality of Godhead is saying, I'll give you anything you want? No, he already had everything he wanted. You know, Krishna could say, what do you want? And you say, Krishna, I don't want anything. I've got you. If I've got you, I've got everything. So Prahlad Maharaj was feeling that way. I have you, my dear Lord. So let me, if you're going to give me a boon, let me give it to all the fallen conditioned souls in this material world. I don't need nor do I want anything, because I have you. You see? Is that a good answer? Excellent question. What else? Anybody else? Oh, there's food.
Here, Dave, how about we end the video because you should start eating and then we can have a discussion, after we end it.
Okay, let me answer his question, and then I'll roll on to feeding. Yes?
Something I wonder is like, how do you know what's a result of you and like what's a result of like Krishna? Like how do you know like who's responsible for what? Like it seems like if something bad happens, then you assign it to something that's not Krishna, and if something good happens, you assign it to Krishna. I don't know if that's like the right mentality or like.
Typically, we think when something bad has happened, if we can determine that it's bad, this is a result of my poor actions in the past. You see? Something that I've done to someone else. So this is simply a return on my poor investment. I was investing in some sort of gratification by maybe stealing from someone or being dishonest with them somehow for my own personal gain. And now, what goes around comes around. Now I'm starting to feel some bad reaction. This is just my doing. Krishna doesn't need to punish us. We're very good at that ourselves. He has this law of karma. It's like I was saying, things are so strict in Doha, in Qatar. Well, the law of karma is pretty strict too. As you sow, the Bible says, as you sow, so shall you reap. The Bible speaks of karma. What goes around comes around. What is it that Newton says?
A reaction is an auxiliary for reaction.
Yeah, science even says for every action there's an equivalent and opposite reaction. You cannot escape karma, even in your own thing. You can say, but I've actually had people over the last decade say, yeah, but see, I don't accept karma. In my world, in my thing, there is no karma. Well, yes, there is. You cannot escape it just because you declare that you have a different thing that doesn't include karma. Karma is there for everyone, you see. So when something bad is happening, it's like paying off a debt, you see. It's like a bill collector that tracks you down and says, look, you gotta settle up here, And so when something good happens, the devotee simply thinks it's just Krishna's mercy. What do I deserve? I mean, we've been in this material world for so many trillions and gazillions of years. That's not a real word, is it? Gazillion? Well, you know what I mean. Lots. So how many foul activities have we done against our fellow living entities? The nature of this material world, it's the place of the cheaters and the cheated. This isn't a place, as Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur says, this is no place for a gentleman. You can't expect fair treatment in this material world. Just because you're a nice guy doesn't mean you're going to get nice. The only fair thing is karma. As you sow, so shall you reap. So the devotee sees that when something nice is happening, it's just Krishna's special mercy. Krishna can do that. Sometimes the devotee is so sincere that he has some heavy karma heading his way from some past deed that he did. And Krishna reserves the right just to grab the karma and push it aside. Maybe you get just a tiny bit. You know, you'll get a bad cold or, you know, something like that. Krishna can do as he pleases. Then keep in mind, he loves us a lot more than we can possibly love him. So as soon as we're sincere about escaping this material energy, then Krishna starts to change everything. All that karma that's coming your way, maybe we can erase most of that. He'll open doors for you and make it easy. He will never take away your free will. You can refuse and reject him at any time you want to. But as soon as you declare, my dear Lord, I want you, then he moves obstacles aside, makes it very easy for you. All right. The munching has stopped in the meeting. So maybe I'll take some prasadam now, and we can still talk though. I can talk and eat at the same time. I mean, it gets a little messy, but that's okay. All right, thank you all so much. Really great crowd. Hare Krishna, all glories to Sri
I have to cancel this one.